The dog that refused to leave the hospital door. No one noticed him at first. Hospitals are loud places. Sirens screaming, shoes rushing across floors, voices whispering bad news. In all that noise, a small brown dog sitting quietly by the automatic doors didn't seem important until days passed, then weeks, and the dog was still there. Every morning, when the hospital doors slid open with a soft hiss, he lifted his head. His ears twitched. His tail moved just once, hopeful, restrained, as if he didn't want to waste the energy on false hope. Every night, when the doors closed and the lights dimmed, he curled himself into a tight ball on the cold tile floor. He never barked. He never begged. He just waited. The security guards tried to shoo him away at first. Go on, this isn't your place. But the dog didn't growl, didn't resist. He would move a few steps away, just enough to look obedient, and then quietly return to the exact same spot, right in front of the hospital door. 3 weeks earlier, a man had walked into the hospital holding that same dog's leash. Witnesses remembered it clearly later, once the story began spreading. The man was pale, struggling to breathe, his steps uneven. The dog stayed glued to his side, stopping whenever the man stopped, tugging gently whenever he slowed too much, as if urging him not to give up. At the emergency entrance, a nurse rushed over. "We need to take him in now." The man hesitated, his grip tightened on the leash. "It's okay," the nurse said gently. "We'll take care of him." The man knelt with effort and pressed his forehead against the dog's. "Stay here," he whispered. "I'll be right back." The dog licked his face. The leash slipped from the man's hand as he was wheeled away. The doors closed, and that was the last time the dog ever saw him. At first, the dog waited like any loyal pet would. An hour, 2 hours, a whole night. He expected the doors to open and his human to walk out calling his name. But morning came instead. Nurses stepped over him carefully. Some smiled sadly. Others avoided looking at him at all. A janitor placed a piece of cardboard near the wall so he wouldn't have to lie directly on the floor. The dog accepted it, but he never moved closer to the wall because his place was by the door. That's where his human would return. By the 4th day, the hospital staff began bringing him food. He sniffed it politely. Sometimes he ate, sometimes he didn't, but he never followed anyone away from the door. A young nurse tried the hardest. She crouched beside him during her break, her voice soft. "You know, you can't stay here forever." The dog looked at her, not confused, not scared, just patient, as if forever meant something different to him. Inside the hospital's room had gone quiet. Machines that once beeped steadily had fallen silent days ago. The paperwork was finished, the bed was stripped clean. Another patient now slept where he once had. But no one had the heart to tell the dog, because how do you explain death to someone whose whole world is built on waiting? When the rain came, the dog stayed. Water pooled around his paws, soaking into his fur. A volunteer tried to drag him under the awning. He resisted, not violently, just firmly, and returned to the door the moment she let go. When the cold nights came, his body trembled. A security guard brought an old blanket. The dog accepted it, but he positioned it so he could still face the entrance. Always the entrance. Every time the doors opened, the dog reacted the same way. Head up, ears forward, heart racing. Doctors, families, strangers. Never him. And every time the doors closed again, the dog lowered his head just a little more than before. Not enough to give up, just enough to show it hurt. Some people said dogs don't understand death, but the truth is simpler and sadder. The man had saved that dog years earlier from the side of the road. Broken ribs, hunger, fear. The man had been his constant. His voice meant safety. His smell meant home. His presence meant everything would be okay. So when the man said, "Stay here, I'll be right back," the dog believed him, because his human had never lied before. 2 weeks later, a woman arrived at the hospital asking questions. She carried a folded letter in trembling hands. "That's him," she whispered when she saw the dog. "That's my brother's dog." Her brother had written the letter before surgery. "If anything happens to me," it read, "please don't let him think I abandoned him." The woman knelt in front of the dog. He sniffed her, tilted his head. She smelled like his human, not the same, but close enough to stir something in his chest. She cried openly. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "He loved you so much." The dog wagged his tail once, just once. They didn't take him away immediately. They sat with him by the door for hours. The woman talked. She told stories. She said his name over and over again, hoping familiarity would ease the pain. Finally, she stood. "Come home," she said softly. The dog looked at the door, then at her, then back at the door. He hesitated, because leaving felt like betrayal. But something in her voice, heavy with the same love, told him it was okay. Slowly, painfully, the dog stood up. For the first time in weeks, the dog turned his back on the hospital door. Even now, hospital staff still talk about him, not as that stray dog, but as the dog who waited, the dog who taught them that loyalty doesn't ask questions, that love doesn't understand time, that hope can survive cold floors, closed doors, and impossible odds. Some bonds don't end even when life does. Like if this story moved you. Comment if you believe dogs love more purely than humans. Subscribe for more emotional, true-style animal stories that stay with you, because some stories deserve